And we are here today to discuss docket 0176, and that is a message and ordinance approving a home rule petition for the general court regarding the composition of the Boston Art Commission. This matter was sponsored by Mayor Walsh and referred to the Committee on Government Operations back on January 25th of 2017. And basically, this home rule petition will propose to allow the Institute of Contemporary Art, also known as the ICA, to nominate 3 candidates for a seat on the Boston Art Commission. Presently, other institutions have existing seats on the commission, specifically the MFA, Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, BPL, Boston Society of Architects, as well as the Mass College of Art and Design. So joining us today, alongside of my colleague, is Julie Burrows, Chief of the Office of Arts and Culture, and also Karen Goodfellow, Director of Boston Art Commission. So unless my colleague has any opening introductory statement, throw it out to you folks to kind of make an introductory comment and then maybe some questions and try to get you back to doing what you guys do best.
Thank you so much, Councilman Flaherty and Councilman McCarthy. My name is Julie Burrows. I'm the Chief of Arts and Culture for the City of Boston, and I oversee the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, which houses the Boston Art Commission. As you can see, we are requesting to add a seat for the Institute of Contemporary Art. We're very excited about bringing in this expertise with contemporary art onto the Boston Art Commission. As you know, the Art Commission has existed in Boston since the late 1890s. It's actually the oldest art commission in the U.S. And so at the time of its founding, the Institute of Contemporary Art did not exist. So now that the ICA has come into its own and we're updating, frankly, what the Boston Art Commission does, it's time to add a seat for them on this body. With that, I wanted to turn it over to my colleague, Karen Goodfellow, who has actually been director of the Art Commission for several years and really predates my experience here in Boston.
Thank you, Karen. Welcome.
Counselors. So just echoing what Julie said, we really just want to round out the expertise on the board, and the ICA is at the level of the other institutions that we have represented, and so we want to bring in that expertise in contemporary art, especially given the great strides Boston has been making in the past few years in the arts and in public art.
And then so for the viewing audience and for my colleagues' edification, there are currently 9 seats now. So we're not adding a seat. What we're basically doing is we're dedicating one of those 9 seats to a representative of the ICA. Is that my understanding?
No, it would be adding a seat.
So there'll be 10 seats?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I was under the impression it was 9, and then we're dedicating a seat to the ICA. So we'll actually have 10 seats on a board, which makes it an even number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if it comes down to 5 to 5, what happens then?
We were just discussing this, that Art Commission actually met on Tuesday. They meet every second Tuesday of the month. And we actually have a couple of at-large seats on the Art Commission, and one of them is currently vacant. And so we could fill that seat. We also find that we rarely have every single commission member at attendance at every meeting. Mm-hmm. And so we haven't really had an issue in the 2 years I've been here with a tie, but we discussed perhaps having one of the ex officio members be a tiebreaker.
Okay.
So I've been in my position almost 9 years, and I will say we've never, on a project, even really come to a contentious vote at all. It's generally dialogue.
We say that here on the city council, but from
Yeah.
time to time there's a
No, we
dust
don't.
up.
It's generally a dialogue with the proponent and working with them to an amenable solution. But we did talk about having potentially someone like Julie, who has an ex officio seat, not vote unless it was necessary for a tiebreaker.
Right. And sort of thinking out loud, and I could reach out to the mayor, given that the mayor had sent this over to us. But my sense is that if we need to discuss an 11th seat, now would be the time to do that, I think, in terms of so that there would be no impasse, if you will, if we got into a 5 to 5. So we're here at 9. I guess the ask is 10. At that point, what's the difference if we have 11? But I could run that through IGR as well as if my colleagues have any questions, if they watch the tape or if they participate, they may not be adverse to going from 9 to 11. Just tends
Sure.
tends a little unusual, but
Yeah,
I'll leave that to.
absolutely. And I mean, I do think we have those 2 at large. If that were the case, we could certainly look at having a 3rd at large. And what that does allows expertise from the community, from someone who is not associated with a large institution. For example, the 1 seat we have now is by Aqua Holmes, who's a Roxbury-born, really well-known artist who does beautiful work and is well known nationally. An expert we have in Boston, but isn't necessarily someone who would be recommended by the MFA or the ICA.
Okay.
And so that could be a potential solution if that presented itself.
Yeah, we would definitely be open to adding another at-large seat on the council. It would actually allow us to have more artists, frankly, on the panel, which is really consistent with the goals of Boston Creates, to support the work of artists and to elevate the work of artists and help keep artists in Boston. So that could be something that works really well with where we're headed.
Okay. And then, Karen, just for folks that are viewing the ratification, the Art Commission, can you just describe sort of the role that the Art Commission plays
Sure.
in our city and other things that you do and are involved with?
So the Art Commission operates as an independent board with representation, from Chief Burrows, and we also have an ex officio position from the BRA that David Carlson holds. But everyone else is sort of nominated from cultural institutions or has presented expertise, and they're all appointed by the mayor, and they vote on projects and on whether they can be installed on city property. So basically, in order for an art project to be installed on City of Boston property, the Art Commission has to approve them. So we work with, statues and parks, projects on streets, and sort of bring them forward. So an example might be the new project we're doing in Hyde Square, working with the Public Works Department, trying to do public art as part of a street improvement project. And so we're drawing from the expertise in the city that will lead to the best projects possible.
Great. And then the process by which the various institutions make a recommendation for their members to serve on the commission. Any specific criteria? One of the things we sort of look for is we're sticklers on residency. Try to make sure that
There's
folks
a residency
that are living in the city of Boston and or have their business in the city of Boston. So I just didn't know what the criteria was by which one would be nominated. And are they sort of rolling terms, or is it a fixed term? And as long as the person's affiliated with that organization, they get that seat on the commission.
They don't need to work at the institution. The institution only needs to nominate them. They do need to reside in the city of Boston.
Okay.
They're 5-year terms, and they can be recommended for a second. Again, with the mayor's appointment.
And given that we're talking about adding 1, possibly 2 seats, are the 5-year terms, are they sort of coterminous now, or do they kind of roll? You know what I mean?
There's not a lot of order to how they're coming in. So they sort of overlap.
They do. So there's constant sort of institutional memory, if you will, and
Yeah, which is really important because
leadership around
for
that.
these projects, these are long terms, but the projects often take many years, and having knowledge of the neighborhood and the
Gotcha.
dynamics there are also very important.
Good. So this 1 or potential second seat would have to coincide probably with a certain start and end date. I don't know if you had a start and end date in mind, or if it's just one available seat that would say start, I don't know when, effective immediately, or is this effective once the mayor signs it, or it gets up to it's a home rule petition, so it's going to go from
Go to
the
the state.
council to the mayor, and it has to go up to the state.
Mhm.
And then
I
however
think-
long that takes,
yeah,
I just
I-
didn't know what the time frame
Yeah,
for you
I
guys
think
was.
we had anticipated that it would be effective in the new fiscal year. And that because the council meets every month, there isn't really a season so that they could roll onto the commission at any given
Okay.
time. There is a process for doing those background checks. Appointees to any boards or commissions go through a background check process, which we know from experience takes several months. So I would anticipate if everything goes smoothly that this person would begin, or 2 people could begin in the fall, realistically.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
No,
Councilor Kennedy?
thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I do agree with Michael on the fact that we should probably think about 11. Just because if you get to that point, it's never happened
Yeah.
and it's probably never been contentious, but you never know.
And I think to Julie's point, it does allow us to have more artists on there, which is
Which is
incredibly.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it could be a bonus. And secondly, I just wanted to congratulate Julie, your 7th annual Women Amongst Us tea.
Oh,
I'm a
thank you.
sponsor, and my wife is actually on the committee. So you'll
up,
be.
right?
It's
Coming up
coming
in
up in March. It's a great event. Unfortunately, I will not. This is the first time I'm going to miss it. My son plays lacrosse, and he's down in Georgia. So my wife and I are actually going to sneak out and go
take your
catch
seat.
him play.
I'll take your seat.
Yeah,
I'll take
yeah,
it.
yeah. He'll
Oh,
take my
thank you
seat.
so much.
He'll take my seat at her seat. You want to come down to Georgia and watch some lacrosse? But I did want to say, congratulations on that. It's a wonderful event, and you'll have a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Again, how's your dad?
He's good.
Good.
He's
Tell him I
He's-
said
he's
hello.
surviving retirement.
Yeah.
I will.
That's awesome. So if there's, now's the time for public testimony. If there's anyone in the gallery, yes, looking to offer some public testimony, do so now or forever hold your peace. Seeing and hearing no desire to do so, that will conclude with the public testimony portion. And just by way of conclusion, just want to take this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues on the council. Appreciate the work that you guys are
Thank
doing
you.
for our city and for the arts, and keep up the great work. There's always been a great partnership with the city council and the arts, along with working collaboratively with the mayor's office. So, have you chaired the arts at some point?
No, not yet.
That's a great committee. We actually have a standalone committee on the
Yeah.
council that sort of deals with all those issues as well. So, that said, that will conclude today's hearing with respect to docket 0176, home rule petition on the composition of the Boston Arts Commission. My expectation will be to sort of put together a committee report based on this testimony, and come up with something that either speaks to that additional seat or maybe second additional seat, if it works within the parameters of the home rule petition, and then have it get before the council for a vote. I think our next formal session is March 1st, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So somewhere within the next couple of weeks, hopefully we'll have something in writing and before the body for a vote, and get back to you guys as soon as we can.
Thank
So
you
so
very
with
much.
respect to Dr. 0176, the Committee on Government Operations is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.